I want to talk Manchester United with you, Dean. They've been linked with Gyökeres from Sporting. Would he be the answer for them?
I think he could be. I think he's probably one of the best I've seen since Didier Drogba in terms of leading the line as a lone striker. It's such a difficult role. It's really changed over the last decade or so of what's required of you as an out-and-out striker on your own. Goals maybe haven't been as important to a lot of teams that play with that player. That player, has to create space for the wide players to be the threat. But what he brings is this incredible physicality, ridiculous work ethic, developed his game at Coventry, which I saw signs of him leading the line so well with a team that wasn't at the top of the league, by the way. And then he's gone to Portugal and he's been sensational. And he's at that age where he's just really starting to understand that role, probably now feels the stature that you maybe need to go to a club like Manchester United where the expectation is so big. I honestly think it could be perfect in terms of what they require from that player. I think he's one of the best, certainly in Europe, at leading the line on his own.
Is there a worry, though, because he's never played in the Premier League, that it might not be the place for him?
No, I don't think so. I think he's played in England. The Championship is no easy league to play in, and the requirements physically for that league that you've got to go through. So I don't, and I think the development and how quickly he's developing, and more probably still to come, I don't see why you wouldn't just look at him, and I'm surprised there's not more clubs that are clamouring to get his signature, because I think he's only going to get better. And that position in particular now requires a certain talent to lead the line, I think, anyway.
Dharmesh, when he played for Coventry, you could have got him for £21 million. Why didn't clubs come in? Is it just snobbishness?
I wouldn't say snobbishness, but how many top Premier League clubs actually go to the Championship and recruit?
That's my point.
Sometimes you'll find that they would want that player, if they're keeping an eye on them, they almost take that calculated risk of, we'll have to pay a little bit more, but we're going to need to see a little bit more, because the Championship might not be enough for him to make that jump to a top Premier League team and into the Champions League. It's the Portuguese league, number one. His record has been incredible, but also you've got to remember that he was scoring goals in the Champions League, scored a hat-trick against Manchester City as well in the Champions League last season. So he has shown that he can do it at that level. And if you're looking at United in particular, clearly Ruben Amorim is a huge admirer of him. He's worked under Amorim before. He knows that formation. So for United, you're asking Dean the question, is he the answer? I mean, United have got a lot of work to do in all areas of the pitch, but if he wants to play in that formation and continue with that formation, and we've got no reason to believe that he won't, because he's very stubborn in that formation, is Amorim, you would think that someone like Viktor Gyokeres would be absolutely perfect, because he knows the manager and he knows that formation back to front. So it would be a fantastic signing if United can get it over the line. There was all this talk about he wants to play Champions League football. Ruben Amorim was very, very pointed in one of his news conferences when he said, I only want players who want to play for Manchester United. It doesn't matter if we've got European football or not. If players are saying, I want to move to a Champions League club, I don't want that player to come to United. And I think he meant that regardless of whether United were in European football or not. He wanted them to come because it's Manchester United. So it'll be a test now of United's pull. But I just wonder whether the likes of Cunha and possibly Brian Mbeumo coming as well, whether that kind of signing can attract a player. I don't know if Dean's got a comment on that. When you see, if you're 50-50 about joining a club and then you see the kind of recruitment a club is making, and you think, oh, right, they're going somewhere here. I want to be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's normally one of the first questions you ask when you go and see the club and the manager is what are your ideas? Certainly as a slightly arrogant striker, you want to know who is going to supply you, and whether you're looking to bring in other players, or is it going to be the players that are currently there? I mean, there are so many other facets that you think about when you're making a move, but as a striker, certainly, I think it is more of a draw to any player if you're seeing an Mbeumo being signed and a Cunha and those creative players, and the club are looking to improve massively as well with that.
Do Manchester United still have that pull?
I think they do, of course, yeah, because of the history of the club. And also, you don't know whether any of these players have grown up and when they've watched English football, Manchester United have been their side. And ultimately, they can still pay the big money. And, you know, I'm not ashamed to say it, that you think of those things. If you've got two clubs looking at you and one of those is offering you a lot more money, an extra year, maybe guaranteeing you that you're going to start games, those things are important to a player still.
Should be said here, United have made initial contacts via intermediaries over Viktor Gyökeres. So there hasn't been any club-to-club contact as far as we're aware at this stage. And a lot of people are saying, how can they afford Cunha, who's already at the club, Mbeumo, who is going to cost the thick end of £60 million as well, and Viktor Gyökeres, who's going to cost over £60 million as well. Well, I don't think Manchester United, despite all their financial and much publicised financial issues, are going into a transfer window with £0 to spend. They will have a certain budget, which we understand to be covered by Cunha and Mbeumo, and then maybe they will have to make sales to be able to fund a deal for someone like Gyökeres. But if you look at the players that they're signing in Cunha and Mbeumo, is that almost a message as well to the current players who are there, who could have played in the number 10 positions? Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, Garnacho, thanks, but we're going to listen to offers for you. And I'm sure United are expecting offers for these players to be able to fund the rest of their window.
Carve, what are the optics on this? A lot of people who work behind the scenes at United have lost their jobs, and yet they're going in for these players. What does it look like to you, that?
Very good question. I think the thing, though, is that with football clubs, especially clubs as big as Manchester United, they need to sign players. It's part of their business model. They've got to invest in the transfer market. It's what they do. They need players to put on the pitch to win things. So if I was somebody who worked at Manchester United and I'd been made redundant after I'd worked there for decades and decades and decades, yes, I would have mixed feelings this summer when I see that they are spending millions and millions of pounds on new players. But that is the way the modern football business works. I think Ineos have gone into Manchester United and brought in management consultants, and they've been told that, look, these are the cuts you can make going forward. The club needs to be much more efficient, and to do that, we have to make these people redundant. You know, it's really sad what's happening at Manchester United and what's been happening there for a long time. But Ineos feel they have a plan to make things better. It's going to take time. It's not going to take just one window, but they believe that they're on the right track. And if you're a United fan, I suppose you've got no option but to put your faith in them.
Dean, how long has Amorim got, do you think, to turn things around?
I think a lot does depend on the recruitment, the ins and outs, because it's clear that he's trying to fight against certain players being at the club and wanting to change that playing squad to suit his style. And he's been so clear about that. He's even said in interviews that the ownership knew that this was the way I wanted to play and I am not going to deviate from that. Well, if the ownership believe in him, then they try and give him the players that will suit that system. Then if we all see that and we see the players that have come in that he can use in that system, then, you know, after 3 or 4 months, if you're seeing nothing at all when you've spent that money and helped the manager, then of course the pressure's going to be on because of the expectation of the football club, and he'll know that though.